Have you ever sat down to memorize the Qur'an and struggled to memorize just one line of it? You keep repeating it again and again, and then you just forget it the next day. This happens again and again, and you start thinking to yourself, maybe I'm just not built to be a hafiz. But what if I told you that memorizing the Qur'an can actually be pretty easy? Not because your memory magically improves all of a sudden, or that you become a genius all of a sudden, but because you learn how to memorize properly. And once you do, you can go from memorizing a single line of the Qur'an to memorizing a whole page within an hour bi'idhnillah. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. And certainly we have made the Qur'an easy to remember. So is there anyone who will remember? Here's what you need to understand. The problem is not your memory. It's the way you're memorizing. You see, most Muslims, they don't speak Arabic as their first language, and so memorizing something in a language you don't understand is pretty difficult. So what you need to do is stop memorizing without understanding. And here's exactly how to do that. First of all, you go to Qur'an.com, specifically this website, and then you recite an ayah in Arabic. Then you read its English translation. Okay, you can even click on each individual Arabic word to reveal its English translation. And then you listen to your favorite Qari. This is important. You listen to him repeat the ayah again and again until it clicks in your mind. Until you start seeing, and this is the aim here, until you start seeing and reading the Arabic ayah as if you're reading and memorizing English. Because now you understand what's going on here. You understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Let's say he's telling you a story about a prophet. You now can recall, oh, this happened, and then that happened, and then that happened. You can understand the story and so remember the order of the verses. This makes it significantly easy to memorize the Qur'an. Now don't rush it, obviously. Take it a few lines at a time. And now, before I move on to the next part, okay, I just want to tell you what Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah had to say about memorization. He said, I don't know anything more beneficial for memorization than the person's desire to do it and constantly looking at the thing to be memorized. You see, there's only two things that you need to memorize something: the desire and the passion to do it. If you feel like someone's forcing the Qur'an upon you, you'll never be a true hafiz. But if you do it out of love, to protect the Qur'an, guard the Qur'an, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart, you have true passion for it, and you repeat it again and again, because there's no way to cheat the system. There's no shortcut. You have to put the reps in. You do these two things, repetitions and passion, and bro, that is how you become a hafiz, inshallah. And then just implement this method that I told you to put your reps in. Now here is the part that so many people neglect. What differentiates a true hafiz from someone who's not is the fact that the true hafiz is serious about revision. You see, the ayat that you learn, the surahs that you learn, they must be instinctive in your mind. Let's say you've memorized Surah Al-Baqarah. If someone recites from a certain ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, you should be able to continue from there. It should be instinctive like that. So never skip revision. And here's how to do revision the efficient way. First of all, I recommend that you start memorizing the Qur'an from Surah Nas, from the end of the Qur'an, because it's going to be easier that way, okay? Now let's say you've started from Surah Nas and now you're at Surah Naba, okay? Now what you need to do is you need to start revising while you're memorizing Surah Naba, revising from Surah Nas all the way to Surah Nazi'at. Okay, and then once you reach Surah Nazi'at, go back and start from Surah Nas again and do this again and again and again, because you need, like I said, you need to put the reps in, because you need to revise much more than you think for it to become instinctive in your mind. The key is to do it in order, to have a methodical approach. Let's say you sit down to memorize the Qur'an, 10 minutes, even if it's just 10 minutes before you start memorizing, 10 minutes after. Just go through those surahs that you've learned in order. Never skip revision. And honestly, my sincere advice to you is to go back and revise the surahs that you've learned before you move on. Because like I said, and I need to emphasize this, to become a true hafiz, what you've learned must be instinctive in your mind. If you are, let's say, on Surah Naba, and then you can't recall Surah Fajr, this is something very serious. Okay, it's the sin to forget the Qur'an that you've memorized. So you need to forget about memorizing ahead, go back, drop everything, sit down and make Surah Fajr instinctive in your mind. And like I said, if you're taking a methodical approach from Surah Nas to Surah Nazi'at, this will make revision easy. It'll make it easy to keep the surahs in mind. And if you take this advice, which I genuinely think that everyone watching this should do, you drop what you're memorizing right now and go back to revise and make instinctive what you've already learned. The general rule is to focus on what you've learned the most recently. Okay, because that's what's the weakest in your mind. Okay, you focus on that, and then you focus on revising what you learned, a bit long time ago. And once you've done that, once everything is instinctive, then you move on. So to wrap it all up, Quran memorization isn't possible. It isn't reserved for specific people. You, if you have the passion, you watching this, if you have the passion to memorize the Quran and you have a love for the Quran, no matter how long it takes you, even if you have to do half a page a day or one line a day, just keep going. Keep going. This is memorization. It becomes easier as you memorize. That's literally the fact. The more you memorize, the easier it becomes. Trust me, if you keep going and you implement this method and you have a passion for the Quran, even if you can't memorize one line of the Quran, if you keep going, Insha Allah, Allah will make it easy for you to the point where you can do a full page in an hour. You just need consistency. It's simple, it's systematic, and it's one of the most fulfilling journeys that you can ever take. So start memorizing the Quran and become a true hafiz by making firm what you've learned, Insha Allah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The one who learns the Quran is like the owner of a hobbled camel. If he pays attention to it, he will keep it. But if he releases it, it will go away." So protect what you memorize and share this video with a future hafiz. By the way, I'm building a community of young Muslims who inspire each other to be the best version of themselves and are connected to the purpose of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Follow me on Instagram if you would like to be part of that. Wassalamu alaikum.